I know what I voted for in 2016 and 2019, and I've now got it. Here is a video for you if that is something that you say. With those words, I started a video which I put onto YouTube 4 days ago, and since then 10,000 people have seen it. Now, the title did have a purpose and arguably was slightly misleading. So we're always encouraged to get out of our echo chambers, and the title was intended to encourage some people who did align with that message to come and watch the video thinking it would reinforce their thoughts, but they would actually find it would challenge their thoughts. It did turn out to be something of a trap for those people who respond to the title of a video without watching any of the video itself, because if you watch even the first 10 or 20 seconds of it, then you'll find that the purpose of the video was indeed to challenge that response. But so some people responded thinking that I was a silver-topped pull up the drawbridge, I'm happy with Brexit and stuff the younger generation character, and abused me appropriately. And also they thought. Some people just abused me and I didn't know whether they'd actually got the irony or not. But there we are. But one thing that I did get accused of, because amongst those 10,000 views, there have been 700 comments just over the course of 4 days, and I've tried to respond to many of them. Not necessarily if it's just pure abuse. And I summarised some of the responses there. One of the most common responses, interestingly, was, "You've put words in my mouth." Now, that's surely not actually possible. Let me just explain. If I open up by saying, if this is something that you say, then I've got a message for you, then either you say it or you don't. If you do say it, I haven't put words in your mouth because this is something that you've said. If you don't say it, then when I say this is just a message for those people who say this, then it's not a message for you. So I haven't put words in anybody's mouth. And by the way, some people said, you've made up somebody who thinks that and says that. Well, you don't know that, but no, I didn't actually. I've had this interaction with somebody saying very much this, and indeed many of those who piled in with the comments on the video were in fact saying that. I did make one assumption, which is that people who said that were also aware of some of the key messages that I picked out during the Leave campaign. So for those people who said, no, they'd never heard of the messages, somebody told me that he'd never heard this business of we send the EU £350 million a week during the campaign. Well, I don't know where he was, but okay, fair enough. Apologies for that. I basically have no regrets about making the video, other than the fact that I should have made some of the messages a little bit closer to the camera. So I've attempted to put that right in this account of the responses to the video. So the video was clearly not directed at all Leave voters, at all Brexit voters. Lots of people responded. There's a little bit of a temptation to say if the cap fits, wear it. Reminds me, in fact, of when Michel Barnier said something critical about those who proposed Brexit without having a shadow of a plan as to how to carry it out. And lots of people complained about, why is he criticising us? Well, he's only criticising you if you're somebody who proposed Brexit without a shadow of a plan to carry it out, which I don't think you were saying. So, not intended as a trap, didn't make anyone up. But yeah, one of the most common responses was to deny that these things had been said. That really did rather surprise me. Surely people have seen the bus, and also people said, I don't recognise these. You haven't been specific about what you're saying the statement is. Well, I typed it out verbatim typically. So, for example, for existing citizens, EU citizens in the UK, for UK citizens rather, you'll still be able to live. I'm reading this in mirror writing on the screen. You'll still be able to live, work, and travel anywhere in the EU. And here it is. There will be no change for EU citizens lawfully resident in the UK. These EU citizens will automatically be granted indefinite leave to remain in the UK, automatically, note, not without going through a long-winded process and then emerging without any documentation at the end of it. They will be treated no less favourably than before. Of course, many of them finding, unfortunately, that promise is not being fulfilled. It's not the case. Lots of people are not aware that they need to apply for settled status, and those who haven't got any documentation. I put up this, so this one was just a phrase, the easiest trade deal in history, and as I say, some of those I interacted with denied the existence of some of these, or said you're not being specific, and I couldn't really believe that they were saying they'd not heard of these. To start with, in comments, did just say, well, look, just Google it, you'll find plenty of references to it. In the end, I put a little account of the quote itself and the references to it in a comment, and in fact on the comments on the YouTube video, and I'll do the same with this one, just in case anybody doubts any of those things. There was a little bit of what I would call splitting hairs. So, for example, on this question of the easiest trade deal in history, somebody said, well, what were the exact words? And Liam Fox had said, this should be the easiest trade deal in history if politics doesn't get in the way. So the Leave supporter who was making the case said, so, that wasn't a lie because he just said it should be, not it is. Well, apart from the point that the phrase is the thing that gets remembered, as I'm sure anybody proposing that would know. But let's just go into that. It should be the easiest trade deal in history as long as politics doesn't get in the way. Well, arguably, yes, it should, if what you are seeking from the trade deal was to converge, which is what a normal trade deal is seeking to do. But in this particular case, what became clear after the referendum was that the Tories' wish was to diverge. And that, of course, then makes it not the easiest trade deal in history. So I likened that in comment to saying to somebody, come and tackle this easy rock climb. It should be the easiest climb that you've ever done. And then that person switching the route after you've signed up for it onto a much harder rock climb and saying, oh, I only said it should be. I didn't say it would be, as you struggle with that harder climb. So a number of interesting interactions. I prefer to have these interactions insult-free, but I do get insulted plenty. I generally don't never return insults with insults. But yes, sometimes they do come in. One response I've found sometimes useful is after I've had a stream of invective and capital letters and whatever, is to say, you seem quite angry. Why is that? We encounter, of course, the angry winner syndrome. I've likened this to a team that's won the cup final, perhaps 3-2, a few disputed goals on either side. What do you expect them to do, having won the cup final, is to go up and, collect their winnings, the cup and their medals and so on, and not to suddenly turn on those who they've been playing against and start to argue, oh, you didn't play fair. It's the angry winner syndrome. And one thing I did particularly respond to is the response which I will sum up as Remain lied to. And, if you're somebody who responded and you feel that you didn't say exactly that, that's fine. But I'm talking about those people who did say Remain lied to. And I'll tell you why I think that's such a weak response. Firstly, the to at the end implies that you're saying, yes, the Leave campaign lied. And so you're devaluing the whole sort of political discourse. I don't believe two wrongs make a right. I don't, in general, with the sort of things that Remain were accused of, I don't necessarily agree with them. But anyway, the point is that we are living in the world brought about by Leave, not in the world brought about by Remain. So, fine, you can make your complaint during the campaign, but the situation now is it's as if you were looking at, two different cars, car A and car B. Both the salesmen say their stuff to you. Both of them lie to you, let's assume, and you buy car A. At that point, if you discover the lies, you have a contractual claim against the people who sold you car A, because that's what you've entered into. That what people said about car B is now irrelevant. You didn't enter into a contract as a result of that. You didn't do what it was that they were suggesting. Overall, series of interesting responses. I do recommend that people should watch the video. I did get accused of various things. I don't know where people made this up from. Somebody said you were in favour of joining the euro. No, I wasn't. Where did they get that from? I also got people responding to me to tell me all the insults that had been levelled at them by other members of the Remain campaign or of the pro-EU campaign. Look, I am not accountable for what everybody who says on the Remain side. As we said, the country didn't even go for the Remain option. I'm not in favour of insults, but I'm not going to spend my time defending what other people have said. I'm making an individual video, making an individual point. I've gone to the trouble of doing that. And if you actually want to engage with the arguments, which quite a small percentage of those who responded critically did, but if you actually want to respond to them, then take the points that I've made in the video, in the original video, and respond to those. Don't go off on some separate track of your own. Hey, make a whole video refuting this if you like, if you want to go to the trouble of that. But anyway, all an interesting exercise. And one thing that I did learn from it is concerning those who responded. So I appreciate that's not necessarily a representative sample. That may be those who are most interested, those who most wanted to get into some sort of debate. But for those people, I think an almost universal reaction was they did not want to acknowledge any of the that any lies had been told during the campaign. Now, I think that's a very difficult position to maintain, and I've put the references and the refutations in the YouTube comments. But in a sense, it's perhaps a positive point, because it's an indication that those people who responded do actually value truth, and of course, it's good if we all do. So I just made this video concerning the responses because there had been so many responses. And if you found this or the original video interesting, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching.